Hello, my name is Carl Surrey, and this is a video tutorial for the Facebook group called Fans of Serif Software. And I'm going to be looking at the serif program Affinity Photo. I'm just looking at the PC version, but I'm certain that pretty much all of, or most of this will be just as relevant for the Mac version. And it's going to be dealing with the brush tool. Now, I have made some other videos that looked at the brush tool or have used the brush tool, and I suggest you can, if you want to know more about the brush tool, you're probably best to look at those ones first. This video is about looking at the little extras that you may not know about that sort of come with the brush tool, mainly with the help of the keyboard. I only found some of this by accident. By looking at the help file, I have found some of the answers of some questions I was asking myself, and it's using this help file that I want to demonstrate. Now, I've set up a basic A4 document. I've just made the background yellow so you can see the black easier on screen. I've already selected the brush tool, and I've set the opacity at 100, the hardness at 50%, and I have black as the colour for the brush. So the most obvious keyboard shortcut, which everybody should pretty much know about by now, is the square bracket keys, which is the two keys next to the P key on the keyboard. Pressing left or right will increase or decrease, whichever way. The right increases the size of the brush and the left decreases the size of the brush. That's pretty much standard on a lot of videos that you may have watched, so you should already know about that shortcut. Let me just set this back down to I need a bigger size than that. Oh, let's type it in, it'll be a lot easier. Let's go for about 720. Yeah, that will do. So the next one we want to look at, let me go back to the help file here. Oh yeah, down the bottom here about the numerical keypads, we'll change the opacity. Now, as I said, I've got the opacity set on 100. Now, if you keep an eye on up here, I'll move this onto the screen, but if you press 1 on the numbers that run along the top of the keyboard, that will drop down to 10%, and hopefully you can see that on the brush tip that's on the screen there. If I press 2, it'll be 20%, 3, 30%, 40, 70, 80, 90 and 100%. And if you want an unusual thing like 78, just press 78 and it'll be 78%, or 33, it'll be 33%. So I'll put this back up to, press 0 to put it back up to 100%. So that is those keyboard options dealt with. So let's go back to the help file again. Right, now the shift key draws a straight brush stroke from the end of the previous brush stroke to the next position you click. So basically that just means if I click once here and move over to say there, hold down the shift key and click, it will just draw the line across. And again, if I hold the shift key down, it will just continue to draw straight lines from one point to the next. So let me just press Ctrl and Z to get rid of that a few times. That's that done. Looking at the next one, which is pressing the Alt key and holding down the left mouse button draws a new colour from under the brush That's what I said then. Brush to paint with, sorry about that. So at the moment it's on black, but say I wanted to use yellow. If I hold down the Alt key and click, as you can see now, both those two are now yellow. So if I paint it in there, it's exactly the same colour. But hopefully you can see that that is yellow on that layer there. So let me just press Ctrl and Z to get rid of all what I painted on there, and I'll just put the colours back to black and white. So that's how you can quickly select a colour to be the new paint colour. So if you wanted to match the colour of a, say for a yellow taxi, you could come over to the image and press Alt and then click on it, and that will be the colour that you select, and then you can go off and paint something in the same colour. Right, now the last one is something that this is the reason why I looked up this in the first place, was that when I watched a few videos about for Affinity Photo where they're using the brush tool, and I must admit they were for I think they were for the Mac version. The person who was doing the tutorial, their sort of brush became two circles, and then they can alter these circles to show the different sizes that they were making the hardness or the size of the brush. And I couldn't work out how they were doing it, which is why I looked up this. So it's rather a weird thing, but basically what you do is you press the right mouse key and hold it, then press the Alt key and hold it, and then press the left mouse button and then and hold it, and then you can move the mouse to the left or to the right to decrease and increase the size, and hopefully you can see in the middle there it's telling you the width that it is making, and you can see how the hardness, which is set at 53% on this, alters with the size of the brush. So hopefully that will make sense. Let me just put this back to 720, and the next thing I would just want to go over is I'm going to go back to make the hardness of this 100%, and I just want to sort of demonstrate how the sort of hardness works. I know this is probably pretty obvious, but I'll give this a little demonstration. So that circle there has a hardness of 100, which just basically means it is a solid circle with very flat, sharp circumference edges. So if I drop this down 25% to 75, okay, and then I draw, I'll just click once. So as you can see there, I have not altered the size of the brush, but the actual brush size does look smaller because of it is less hard around the edges. It's sort of fading as it goes out towards the edge. So if I go down another 25% to 50, there we go, and then I click there. Again, it's reduced in size, and so, I mean, although the opacity is still at 100%, it is not as black as when it was at 100%, because it is fading more so as it goes out from the center nearer to the edges. And if I drop down to 25%, you can see it's getting smaller and smaller, and the edges disperse a lot quicker. And if I just go down one final step to say about 10%, 9%, that's close enough, and I click there. So as you can see, that's 100% hardness, 75%, 50%, 25%, 10%, but the brush size has been 720 the whole time. And as you can see by this white circle inside, it looks a lot smaller, and that's because the center is the more solid part, and it gets bigger as it goes out to the edge of where the brush is. If I put this back up to 100 and I put that back over the top there, it should fit that exactly the same, because it is still 720 pixels in size. So I hope that has made some sense and has hopefully taught you something new that you didn't know, as it has taught me. I must admit, I do like this trick about holding down the right key, the Alt key, and then the left mouse button, and altering the size sort of more visually than just pressing down the bracket keys. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Now, before you rush off and go and make yourself a cup of tea, I just want to show something which I have just found out by accident just before I started to convert this into a video to put onto YouTube. And if we are on a brush tool and we are on black, right, so if I just make a quick pixel layer. Now, as I showed you before, in the help files where it says about the pressing the right mouse button, holding down the Alt key, and then the left mouse button, you can move the mouse left and right to decrease and increase the brush size, and that's all it says. But if I hold down the right mouse button, then the Alt key, and then the left mouse button, like they say, moving it left and right will alter the size. But what they didn't tell you is if you move up and down with the mouse, you can alter the hardness. So let's make this a bigger brush size. It's probably a bit too big. They're about there. So again, right mouse button, Alt key, left mouse button, moving the mouse up and down alters the hardness, and moving it left and right alters the size. Now, their help files mentions nothing about altering the hardness by going up and down, and I just found that by accident, which is why it's tacked on the end. So I will now finish. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.